Hello everyone and welcome to the PS4 Tier 6 Finals here at the Console Gaming League. I'm NSB and I'm joined on this lovely afternoon by Joker's Ransom. We've got a huge NA vs EU matchup between Shiva Elite and Supreme here.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting matchup today. Supreme coming off a huge upset off of MME in the semifinals. Big team. They had no map losses up until that loss to Supreme. And we also have Shiva Elite. I've casted this team before. They are looking so good, especially with their Ryan Arissa comp that they've been running a lot here recently, NSB.
Yeah, and piggybacking off of that, they absolutely demolished their semifinals match. I was there as well watching that one live. But their Ryan Arissa is very strong. They have every single one of their players on comfort picks, especially Chaku and Fast CN. Both of those players definitely known for popping off. You have Checo on the McCree most of the time, and then Fast CN pulling out the Reinhardt, getting the brawl going and popping off there. And then also, I think their support line is definitely very good. SetiCat is a player that I would like to highlight through this series. I think that they are very, very good on the Baptiste. We'll see some phenomenal play out there. It's a brand new team, but on the other side, I believe Supreme has some experience. So Joker, looking at that team, what do you think we'll see from them?
Well, they came in they came into CGL with a championship under their belt for the Max tournament. But they also have some pretty good players on their team as well. They have Frostbit and it's Phantom on the DPS. It's Phantom, and Frostbit is one of their tanks. So you got to see if Phantom can keep up with Checo. I think that's going to be the major storyline for this matchup. If we saw their semifinals matchup, Checo was running over the opposition. If Phantom can stay with him, I think this could be a really close matchup.
Yeah, and Phantom also known for his McCree, so it will be nice to see that hit-scan duel there. Checo known for his flanks as well. We saw some flank noons, and I'm going to be loving to strap in for some of those flanky high noon type plays. And then also Frostbit able to Rhine duel with Fast CN. So these two MVPs directly clashing up with each other on the other side. If we think about map pools, if we think about how these two teams are going to be choosing the servers, it's actually a different format than usual because Shiva Elite's a team with a lot of EU players as well as some Middle East region players. They're going to be going up against some West Coast players and East Coast players from Supreme. So we're going to have alternating server picks. The minimum ping setting will be active as well. And then the teams will be alternating map picks with Supreme actually getting the first decision. And that first decision is going to be Lijiang.
Yeah, Lijiang is going to be really good for Shiva Elite's double shield, double main tank composition, especially on the night market. That's going to be really good for their Arissa Rhine, as you can lock down that point very easily with those two main tanks.
Yeah, and I think we should see some Symmetra coming out. I know Fantasy can play that, the DPS player over for Shiva, able to flex on the Mei as well. So we should see the Mei maybe moving forward in the series. But enough looking at the future. We're just going to dive straight into Lijiang. It should be a great map. If we look at the Gardens, probably a very contested point. But we're going to be starting it off on the Control Center. And this should be interesting.
Yeah. They're still... I mean, I like Shiva Elite's composition here. Both teams are actually going to be running this Orion Arissa. As this is played on the last patch, so it's still very good here. I feel like I know these people, and I'm not. I don't know. But we're gonna see Checo still on that McCree. He's gonna look to do a lot of damage like he did on that first, in his semifinals matchup.
And a few differences here. Supreme does not have a Lucio. They're running for a higher heal output, higher brawl potential with the Brig. They also have Angel Volato on the Junkrat, but Phantom is going to be getting this first kill, getting rid of the Lucio. So the rotational ability of Shiva Elite is sort of gone here. They have the wall though, and they're beginning to put pressure back on Supreme. The freeze comes through, and 2 kills actually from Terror. Fast CN so low on the backside of the point, but the Immortality field is there. That should be enough to stabilize for Shiva, and they do pick up the first percentage.
Yeah, Air Terror was one of the standout players as well from their semifinal matchup. He was so good on this Orisa, getting those nice combinations with his DPS and other tank. But ooh, Parrish gonna get that first pick on the Checo. That's gonna be huge. They don't have that main source of damage coming in from Shiva Elite anymore.
Yeah, Checo gone, but they do have the amplification matrix. The pull comes through and the fire strike, so a lot of damage there. Bastien with the wraparound lands the Earth Shatter and already gets 2 kills. Shiva Elite again searching forward. That's a nice team wipe there. Supreme started the fight with a pick, but they weren't able to break through the high damage.
Yeah, that's definitely because of Bastien. They're going around, not catching the team of Supreme unawares, and getting that big shatter and following up with 3 kills just by himself.
Yeah, it was a great play there, but coming into this next fight, Supreme very close to the Photon Barrier, but they're going to use the Amplification Matrix this time to engage. Angel Volato getting a single kill, but the Blizzard comes back for a bit of contest. The kills roll through, Checo cleaning up 2 at the end of this fight, actually making it 3 there as he lands the headshot. Supreme again sent back to spawn, but they do have a lot of ults coming into this next fight.
Yeah, we see Phantom having his Photon Barrier online, Frostbite as well with the Earth Shatter. And only Dinks here almost up to that, oh my goodness, I keep forgetting this name. But we're going to see, they're going to use this Proton Barrier very early in this fight.
The Supercharger put into the mix as well, and that's going to be a lot of damage amplification. They've actually found Fantasy very far ahead of their team on the point here. Might be able to catch them out. Angel Volato lands the concussion grenade there. Shield's looking pretty low for Frostbit, but the cap comes through right as overtime begins.
Yeah, and they only have to really use 1 or 2 ultimates there. They got to use the Photon Barrier and the Supercharger. I remembered what it was, NSP. But we go into this next fight. It's looking really good for the side of Shiva Elite. They've got 3, 4 ultimates online, almost 5, especially with the Amplification Matrix online as well with this the Supercharger. It's got to look good for them here.
Angel Volato pulling out the Riptire very early in this engage. Maybe looking for a kill or 2, but most of Shiva Elite has actually backed off, so it will find nothing. And now it looks like they'll drop in the Supercharger from Error just trying to get in here. We have dueling amplification matrices. The Fire Strike comes immediately through from Frostbit. That's going to send Shiva Elite packing yet again.
Yeah, and I feel like Angel Volato's Riptire there, while not getting any kills, it really just stopped Shiva Elite from pushing, as they wasted their Supercharger because of it. They couldn't really push in. They could have gotten they could have died very easily to Angel Volato's Riptire, but in the end, it's still looking good for the side of Supreme. But here comes Jakku looking for a big high noon.
And it comes through, gets 2 there. The Shatter wraparound again came out from Bastien, I believe, putting everyone on the floor. Checo makes it 4 at the end of this fight, and overtime will burn down. A secure on the control center for Shiva Elite. Supreme was able to put back 72% on the board there, so it wasn't completely one-sided, but so far Shiva looking very good.
Yeah, Shiva Elite looking really good. We're going to go into this next point. We're going to see Fantasy switching over to the Symmetra here to duel this Symmetra and see if, I think if Shiva Elite can get on the point early, I think they've got this in the bag.
Yeah, Supreme hovering over a different composition than what we've seen before. The Gardens is a very open space, and that offers itself up to a Wrecking Ball. It offers itself up to the Tracer that we see from Angel Volato. And then also running the more utility-based support line of Brig and Zenyatta. But we see the Teleporter immediately coming through. Only Dinks looking for some disruption early, but I mean, Checo already piling on the damage, and he's still actually following Only Dinks all the way back into their own spawn. Early control gained on the point here without much contest coming through from Shiva Elite. Flashbang barely missing Angel Volato as they do blink away. But Supreme still looking for a path towards this objective, and I'm not sure if they'll be able to break through this defense right now. Zedicat still has that immortality field, and the boop actually comes through onto Only Dinks. That's probably a fight win here for Shiva Elite as they finally move out of the objective. There's another boop coming through as Fantasy cleans up with the charged up beam as well.
Yeah, Psychonash getting that late pick onto Frostbit. Lucia looking nice and clean for him right now. And yeah, it was kind of odd. The side of Supreme was playing this really major disruption comp. They couldn't really disrupt the composition of Shiva Elite, however, and that's why they weren't able to capitalize on only Dinks here ball play. And we're gonna see Shiva Elite has the tools to stay in control of this point very easily.
Yeah, this fight is playing out again exactly how they want it. They want these fights to last a long time. They just keep saving this immortality field for when they need it. They charge up Fantasy's beam and they charge up amplification matrices basically every fight with how long they last. And it's just a game of patience for them as they've built up 50%.
Yeah, and they still got ultimates to spare. They haven't really had to use any. They've only used Seti-Cat's amplification matrix. They've got, and Fastian getting that pick onto Zilla in this first, the res coming up, but there's the shatter coming out as well.
Oh, Fastian getting a bit ahead of himself as he looks for more than that single kill, but Psychonaj makes his third boop in 3 fights here, looking for maybe the beatdown on to Phantom, and the kill comes through there. A lot of trades back and forth, but again, it favors Shiva Elite. It cost them a few ultimates, but they still have this Deadeye and the Supercharger, as well as the Sound Barrier.
Yeah, and I think they still got it. Unless Angel Lotto can get the Pulse Bomb onto like Seti-Cat here. But Seti-Cat getting that pick onto only Dinks here is already looking very good for them. And he's gonna do his own Pulse Bomb. There comes the Supercharger out from the side of Shiva Elite, and it's looking really good for them right now.
Yeah, Chaco gets to with the Deadeye headshot onto Zil and now clean things up. A very good round on the Gardens, caps off Li Zhang here for Shiva Elite, and they take the lead 1-0 up against Supreme in the series.
Yeah, and it was just really just Shiva Elite flexing their muscles. First map here, they after getting control, they really didn't look back, and we saw some standout plays from like people like Checo and Fastian from the side of Shiva Elite. And I hope Supreme can come back on this next map, which I believe is going to be King's Row.
Yeah, Shiva Elite now has this map pick and they opt to go on to King's Row. The servers will now swap over to Supreme's NA side, so it'll be interesting to see if these swaps do play into either one of these teams' hands. But I mean, last time we saw King's Row from Shiva Elite over in the semifinals, it went very well for them. This Rhino-Orisa comp works pretty good in the streets phase at the end of the point as well. You've got these long choke points where you can just spam in damage. And it will be tough for Supreme to get in if they opt to run this Wrecking Ball-based composition again. I think it's basically impossible to disrupt a team that is as coordinated as Shiva Elite and that has these good rotations and good patient play.
Yeah, I'd have to agree there. We shouldn't see that Wrecking Ball again. But I don't know what you can run. I mean, you're probably just going to have to mirror them here as... I think that's when they looked their best, when they mirrored Shiva Elite on the Orisa Rhine, and I think that's what they need to do.
Yeah, only Dinks can play this Orisa, and you've got Frostbit able to play the Rhine, so why not mirror? I think, like you said, it's just sort of going to be forced here on King's Row. I don't think a normal Brawl could match up to the spam damage. I think Azaria would just get vaporized and disappear out of the server every single time they walk through the choke. So it's probably going to have to be a mirror, but I mean, we can just go straight forward into the series. We'll see if Shiva Elite can maintain the momentum that they found on the Gardens, but we're going to be jumping straight in. Like you said, with Supreme on the defense, they do opt for this Wrecking Ball composition yet again.
Yes.
And I mean, if it works, it works, but right now we're seeing yeah, okay, never mind. I was about to say Air Terror is going to go over to the Winston. It's going to be interesting to see. I haven't seen him play anything except Orisa throughout this series. But yeah, it'll be really interesting. They just cannot let Shiva Elite set up, and I think that's the major problem with running this disruption comp on Gardens of Lijiang Tower. You can't, especially with that Symmetra that they were running, they've got to be able to disrupt, get rid of either Steady Cat or Psycho Nash very early in the fight, and that's the only way to win this, I think.
I mean, the point control already coming through from Shiva Elite, and what an icicle there from Fantasy, landing the double headshot, I believe. And at this point, there is no way to contest if you're only Dinks. You're running into so much damage. There's also the freeze from Fantasy, who is now swapped back over onto the Mei. And you see the caps come through. Frostbit tries to drop in and maybe get some damage done late, but the fight is won and the point unlocked very quickly. I'd expect Supreme to swap over onto the Mirror at this point now.
Yeah, they've got to. Yeah, we're going to see Frostbit swapping over to the Reinhardt now at least. That's going to be something to start with, but the ultimate advantage is not going to be good, as we see Fastian already up to 35% of his Earth Shatter, and we're looking at a real Mexican standoff right now. And there he goes, Checo getting Angel Volato out in the backline.
And look at where that stagger occurred. They're already around the first corner when they get the kill, so that gives them the second corner and the third corner. Now Supreme is going to have to walk into this next fight basically in a giant shooting barrel for Shiva Elite.
Yeah, you can't wait that long if you're Angel Volato. You know how far the cart has gone already, but we're gonna get a nice recontest coming in from the side of Paranoia, or sorry, Supreme.
Yeah, Supreme looking to get in on the point. The wall goes down there from Fantasy, and that allows for Checo to get one with the Deadeye, and the kills roll through yet again. Air Terror actually gets a double, make it a triple in this fight, and I mean, 6 minutes are on the clock. That was a point B with no real contest coming through.
Yeah, and this is just really similar to how they played this on in their semifinals matchup. They don't stop on King's Row attack. There comes the amplification matrix and a nice fire strike coming out from Bastian.
Yeah, the combo executed pretty perfectly there. It's nice to see the pull fire strike combo working well with the amplification matrix added in. I mean, the stun's coming through, so much damage onto only Dinks. He is vaporized within an instant there. Zillanel tries to stabilize. Phantom actually gets two here on the Symmetra after dropping in the photon barrier. So the contest might win this fight here for Supreme, but they have to be really careful. The Immortality Field comes out. Phantom gets another, so this should send Shiva Elite back, but they need to stabilize for a full 5 minutes if they want to win this out.
Yeah, nice plays coming out from Phantom, like you said, getting those 2 picks after using the photon barrier. That really just set him up to be able to hold, and only Dinks here coming back on that wrecking, or was it? Oh my goodness. It was either only Dinks, one of the two were on the wrecking ball. And getting those picks as well. But here comes the shatter out from Bastian.
Yeah, it lays down too, and that's really all you need. The Deadeye comes out from Chaco, and that's going to clean things up even more here. Psychonage used this sound barrier a bit early in the fight, but I mean, the picks are going to be enough for Shiva Elite to walk it in here with a huge time bank. Supreme was able to stop it up at point C a bit more than the last two, but I mean, 4:34 on the clock is still massive.
Yeah, it's still more time than you started with. You gotta feel very boomed to Supreme there, but you maybe not feel that boomed, as if you saw if you saw their semifinal matchup, there was a lot more of a role would have to say on this map. So you got to be feeling at least somewhat good about yourself because of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's still one more round. I think now is the time for Supreme to swap over to the Mirror. You saw them just sort of get bowled over on point A with their Sigma and the Wrecking Ball, and then they didn't really have a chance to swap over to the Mirror fully after point B and C, and point C they were just stuck on those stall picks. That next fight, Shiva Elite came in with ultimates, and I mean, it's all done and dusted at that point. But now they're walking out on the attack with the Mirror finally out, and this could play in their hands. I think that the teleporter will be a nice utility to get through these chokes. We'll have to see, though, because Chaco's still on this McCree, still getting a lot of stuff done.
Yeah, and you've got to be able to... I've said this when we were casting them earlier. You've got to be able to catch out Checo. You got to make him not feel comfortable. He's still doing those wacky flanks, and you can't let him do that. If you want to win this series, that's not gonna letting him do what he wants is the key to them getting a 4-0 in this series.
The Fortify from Only Dink saves him from instant death there, but I mean the damage is still being poured on as we start off this attack here. Shiva Elite playing a very laid-back approach. You see this patience from them a lot, and I think that's good for them because they are confident in their ability of those damage dealers to just dish out a bit more than the enemy's side. But now you see the engage coming through. It's an amplification matrix out early here from Zil Anel, but the first kill comes from Facien's Fire Strike. He's going to try and do it again, but he's pulled into a world of hurt there. Still trades going every which way, but Checo, Psychonatch, they are popping off, and the amplification matrix comes back into the mix for Shiva Elite. This next fight should be favored from the attack, though. They have a bit of a respawn advantage.
Yeah, they do have that respawn advantage, which is going to be huge. You're going to be looking to hopefully see, but they're not going to be able to engage quick enough. All of Shiva Elite are back together. Here comes the High Noon coming out, Big Shatter coming out as well from Facien, and that's going to be 2 from Checo again. What a great player here at NSD.
Yeah, Facien coming in with the Earth Shatter, making it so Supreme can't retreat behind their Photon Barrier, and the ultimate economy is still pretty balanced, Joker.
Yeah, they only used a couple ultimates there. They only used Facien and Checo were the only ones to use ultimates there, and they still got ultimates to spare. Seticat and Psychonatch all stopped to their support ultimates as well. There's no real way that they can lose this, but it's a big shatter! Oh my goodness!
Yeah, and instantly Supreme gets past this choke. They're able to engage, but Parrish had no sound barrier ready to go to try and counteract that Blizzard, but still they're rolling forward. Lots of headshots coming through from the attack here, but I mean, these pulls are still very good from Aeroterror. He's going to try and hold up this objective a bit, but Supreme eventually are going to get the capture here.
And I feel like Shiva Elite could have probably held that there, but too many people got knocked down by that Earth Shatter, and Fantasy's Blizzard did not get as many people as they'd like to have in it, and in the end it goes the way of Supreme, and you'll like to see it. 3 minutes and 52 seconds on the clock. That's nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, and oh, that pull coming through is so much damage. You saw the supercharger deploy from Supreme as well. The flank Deadeye comes through, and it's a lot of damage. The Immortality Field saves them, and Parrish does get the counter kill, though. 2 kills from Frostbit now as the Blizzard surges forward. The rest of Supreme going to surge forward as well. They get rid of the supercharger. They get rid of Shiva Elite. And now it looks like they should be able to get pretty far in the Streets phase.
Yeah, especially with still having ultimates online and double support ultimates online for Supreme here as well. It's Phantom swapping over to the McCree, trying to deal with Checo now. We have a full mirror now because of it with that swap over to McCree. And I think it's looking good. Here comes his first High Noon of the day.
Oh, and it gets 3. The wall comes up just a second too late there. It does save Fantasy and Checo on the backside, and the trade comes through, but it's too little too late. Phantom popping off at the beginning of that fight, and it's a point B very reminiscent of Shiva Elite's attack because Supreme just pulled through it very quickly.
Yeah, and it's great to see someone being able to make Checo feel not as safe, as comfortable as he has throughout the CGL playoffs. But Frostbit with a 2K, oh my goodness, oh my goodness.
And they use the sound barrier to clean everything up after this fight, and Phantom actually gets 3 there on the cleanup. I think it's a nice aggressive sound barrier, but the Blizzard is going to come out in the re-engage.
Yeah, you'd like to have saved it for the re-engage coming up, but there's a big wall, and I don't think anyone's gonna be able to touch.
Oh, great play there from Angel Volado. They were confident enough that that wall would stop things, that they were just able to get the stun onto the supports coming out of the right side, and Shiva Elite unable to split their forces to get around that wall. And it's actually pretty similar time banks. We look at Shiva Elite, and they're only about 1 minute and 4 seconds ahead of Supreme here, but Supreme is going to get another shot at the attack, and now is where it's really going to matter if they can push through point B quickly in overtime.
Yeah, and I always like to talk about overtime pushes. You always see the longest pushes in overtime rounds in overtime, especially because of those respawn timers that you see. They're so much longer than a regular respawn timer. It's like 15, 20 seconds instead of the regular 10 seconds. And that's why you see those big pushes in overtime. And we might not see it for a while, but if Supreme can push it as long as they need to and get it to overtime, we might see a very long push coming from them.
Yeah, and when point B goes so quickly already, one fight under the gates is enough to really open up that third objective. But Shiva Elite on the defense, not swapping anything up. I believe it's the same composition from Supreme as well. And this is going to be very interesting to see how fast this first objective can be captured, if at all, because Psychonatch is the one getting the early kill, and I mean, Supreme is already just going to try and retreat as fast as they can.
Yeah, Air Terror and Fantasy getting the kills as well. Psychonatch with 2 in the fight, and Fast CN getting the charge kill onto Zill and L in the end, and it's looking good for them. Fast CN's already almost up to that ultimate. 38% to go. Sorry. As no one looking at ultimates from the other side, no one's even close to their ultimate for the side of Supreme.
Yeah, it was a quick fight that resulted in a lot of ult charge for Shiva Elite, but Zillanel able to get the amplification matrix in the mix just a bit faster than SetiCat, who is known for their fast amplification matrices, and the headshots come through on the icicles. That should be point A secured here, barring some miracle contests from the Lucio and the Kree, but that's definitely not going to happen. Supreme are going to move it forward, and the question is, can they stand up to this ultimate battle in overtime?
Yeah, I don't know. We saw them very clean on their first attack, but that was not when the side of Shiva Elite had ultimates in their favor. Bastian and SetiCat already online with both of their ultimates, and Treco as well, getting up to his. There's 4 ultimates online for Shiva Elite, and I think that's got to spell a good hold coming in from them right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at this fight and you're Supreme, you're definitely very scared of all of these ultimates coming in. It's already a lot of damage, and that Immortality Field is gone just due to that pull Fire Strike through the Amplification Matrix. Supreme going to have to wait it out and attempt to contest in overtime. Frostbit now has the Shatter online, and he drops it down. He actually lays down 3, but the Blizzard comes through on the other side. Fantasy looking to clean things up. It's 1 kill in favor of Shiva Elite, but now the re-engaging DPS ults come in. That puts it all back up at even, but now they have this supercharger ready to go. They have just a bit more damage, and I think Supreme might be able to use that in their favor. Phantom just fanning the hammer, looking for any damage he can get around the objective, but now Parrish ready to go with this sound barrier. I don't know if he'll need to use it here. The respawns did just come in for Supreme, and yes, they're going to get the cleanup in a fight that should have been won by Shiva Elite.
Yeah, and we saw after that long fight, it really just favored Supreme because they had those really close spawns. Not having to go from 3rd point spawn room to recontest the point, and Supreme being able to stabilize just because of those faster respawns.
Yeah, it was looking like a good 4v4 there, but once you get it back in your favor in like a 6v4, it definitely is better for you to push forward. You see the ultimates coming out here from Shiva Elite again to start off the battle, but they're unable to clean up anything. It's their 3rd ultimate in this fight now that the sound barrier comes through, and still it's a 1-for-1 trade. They get rid of Fast CN, who had charged way deep into the backlines, but Chaco trades it back now. Oh, and he does have this Deadeye ready to go. It'll be tough for him to find the space to use it, because really right now Supreme continues to put down the pressure. They still have this Baptiste in the mix, dishing out a lot of heals for their tanks, who are going to get the job done here, and I think they walk it into point C. Yeah,
they definitely looking at that. Psychonatch, the only person on point, but he's going to be felled by Frostbit. And like I said, overtime pushes can turn into miraculous pushes, as they're almost they're gonna be halfway to the end when I feel like Shiva Elite's gonna be able to recontest this.
Yeah, 4 minutes on the clock, 2 minutes on the clock. It doesn't really matter because these overtime respawns definitely favored Supreme on these last 2 points. But now they might favor Shiva Elite. However, the early supercharger comes out. Shiva Elite definitely afraid of that. They're forced so far back and they still take a ton of damage here. It's going to have to be a final fight to see if Supreme can get the full 6 on the board. The Blizzard and the Amplification Matrix now out in return, but the Shatter comes through. The returning Blizzard, but they get off the points. Oh, Supreme had pushed in. Only Things had 2 kills, and it was probably going to be a fight win there for Supreme, but they step off the objective at the last moment, unable to put 6 on the board as they got a bit over eager to follow up on the Blizzard.
NSB, they had it too, like you said, and just a little, and I think they thought Phantom was still on the point, but he was just off that cart, and oh my goodness, you hate to see it, but you still got a very long push here as and it's very close to the end. 3 minutes on the clock for Shiva Elite. You've got to like this if you're Supreme here.
Yeah, I mean, Supreme pushes it in pretty far. I think even if Shiva Elite can walk it up all the way to point C, then Supreme should be able to take one fight at least before it gets to the point where they're having to come out on those stall picks. So I think if anywhere, they could stabilize at the beginning of point C, where Shiva Elite sort of just had to back off because of the supercharger. That could be their win condition here, but I'm liking Supreme's chances to tie up the series, Joker.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. They're looking so much more comfortable after swapping to the mirror matchup against Shiva Elite here. Phantom's been able to keep Checo in check, and interesting. They're coming out from Only Things here, but yeah, they're looking a lot more comfortable doing in the mirror matchup right now.
Again, Shiva Elite uses all of their cooldowns really to just get control of this point, and now they deploy the Immortality Field to let the other cooldowns recharge. I think it's a very good strategy to just brute force your way onto the objective and use that Immortality Field to stabilize things up. Those McCrees trading kills on to the respective Reinhardts. Frostbit and Fast CF gone, but Phantom makes his second of the fight, and his DPS duo will follow it up. Angel Velato getting these icicles on the retreating members here, and the kills come through. DPS pop-off means that Shiva Elite will only get 87 on the board, and it's a good start for Supreme.
Yeah, it definitely is. They've already got Zillanel's Amplification Matrix online, Phantom as well, having his high noon available. It's going to be good for this quick recontest that the side of Shiva Elite is going to be looking for, and Frostbit going to be getting that nice kill with Fire Strike.
It must feel so good to land every single one of those combos every time. We've seen it from both teams, the big pull Fire Strike through the Amplification Matrix, but this time it's for Supreme, and they hold off Shiva Elite for just a few seconds longer.
Yeah, and we're going to see almost another big ultimate online. Only Things here is going to be having his supercharger online, and that's going to be huge. Amazing amount of damage coming out from the side of Supreme now because of it.
Yeah, Supreme popping off here, Phantom popping off yet again. Shiva Elite really only has this sound barrier and the Blizzard. Maybe the supercharger will get them through the choke, but Zillanel should be able to counter that out with damage amplification from that Amplification Matrix, which they've charged yet again. I think it's very tough to get ahead of SetiCat when it comes to the Amplification Matrix charge, but Zillanel has been popping off this map on the support. We'll see if they can do it in this next fight, though. It's a potential final fight here for Shiva Elite. You see the Blizzard tossed all the way in there from them as they look to get on this objective. Now you've got ultimates in return from both sides. The Blizzard is going to freeze up Fast CN in an unfavorable position, and they do get that kill, but a nice flashbang, and Checo is actually wrapping around this backside just the right time to get a few picks, and he's going to follow it up with the Deadeye. Shiva Elite now has to get the same overtime push that Supreme did, and I mean, it's going to be tough.
It definitely is going to be tough. They still have Bastian's ultimate online. That's going to be huge. But Only Things here almost up to their second supercharger of this matchup, as well with Phantom and Frostbit not that far behind. you've got to like Supreme's chances to hold it here, NSB. They're looking really clean, and they brought that time bank down a lot after that first hold.
Yeah, it was definitely a better point A than what they put up with their Sigma and Wrecking Ball composition, but Fastian has to land an absolutely clutch Earth Shatter here if he wants to keep his team moving forward. He has it ready to go, and he's actually going to move behind the Reinhardt there. Frostbit looking for a Shatter of his own, and he lays down 5, but still the momentum sort of favors Shiva here. They're able to stabilize beyond that Shatter and get a few kills of their own. Phantom gets 2 back in this fight, but the Lucio, the speed boost, is enough to take Shiva Elite through, and they're walking into this next one with a Blizzard, but Phantom has been popping off in this round. We'll see if he can do enough to hold them off of point C.
Yeah, it's really gonna be I don't know, they're probably going to be able to recontest this, especially with Parrish's speed boost, but it's gonna be interesting to see which team can get the more value. Here comes the high noon out, and it's gonna be, oh my goodness, Phantom is putting on a show today.
An amazing performance from the McCree aficionado there at the end of this round, and in overtime, Supreme will secure the victory on King's Row, tying up the series, and it is as close as ever, man.
Yeah, it's looking really good. After they swapped over to that double shield mirror of Shiva Elite, that Shiva Elite comp that we've known them for, Supreme is just looking so much better, and they're being able to stay in the race with Shiva Elite, and maybe even overtake them in the race after that last map there.
Yeah, and it should be interesting to move into Assault as our next category. I think Hanamura is definitely the way to go. I think that's what it has been chosen here. It's an interesting map that offers itself up to the teleporter strategies. I think Orisa Rhine works well on the defense, especially on point B there, where you can hold up on the high ground and just spam down those enemy shields until they're completely gone. So we will see Hanamura as our next map of the series, but before we dive into that one, we're going to take a short intermission. Make sure you guys don't go anywhere, because our final broadcast of the season is just getting started. These two teams neck and neck as they move forward in the PS4 T6 finals. Welcome back, everyone, to the PS4 Tier 6 finals here at the Console Gaming League. We are all neck and neck after these previous 2 maps, and we're going to be heading into Hanamura Joker. It should be very interesting to see if Supreme can keep mirroring up Shiva Elite's Orisa Rhine composition, or if they opt for that Disrupt comp again. I think it definitely looked better when they were on the Rhine Orisa, but the question is, can they maintain that momentum as we move into Hanamura as our next map?
Yeah, I feel like they can maintain that momentum. After switching to that Rhino Orisa, they looked so much better on, especially the capturing of the points, like on first point of King's Row. And I think that can translate really well into 2CP, as they're pretty much kind of the same type of map point. It's not the escort form of hybrid, but I've got to like their chances to keep this momentum going. We might see a different composition. We might see some different DPS. I know I personally like to run an Ashe on defense for Hanamura, but hey, these people are, what, thousands of SR above me, so I don't really know what they're going to run here. But if it was me, I'd run an Ashe instead of a McCree.
I would guess that maybe a Junkrat could come out. I think we'll see Symmetra from the attack, just so they can rotate wherever they want to go in the choke point, because when you were walking into a choke with so much spam, especially at such a high level where that spam definitely focuses down the shields very quick and stops up those rotations at a faster rate, I think you sort of need this Symmetra to get through the choke. I expect it coming out from the attacking side. We'll see who is on the attack, though, as we jump into our next map. And I'm expecting maybe some even more niche comps. I think that this offers itself up to some crazy compositions if either team wants to run those out. But we're going to have Supreme on the defense, running the same old. They've got Phantom still on the McCree. He was popping off, especially at the end of King's Row. So it's all about the tempo. We'll see if he can continue that.
Yeah, it really is all about that tempo, like you just said. We're gonna see Checo swapping off the McCree for now, and we're gonna see him on the Bastion. Interesting. Okay, so that makes more sense. Fantasy gonna be over onto the Symmetra as well. We're gonna be seeing the moving turret. Very, or no, we're not. We're gonna see. Oh wow, this is an interesting strategy coming out from Shiva Elite.
Yeah, Shiva Elite sends the rest of their squad all the way up to the objective. They're met by Phantom, though, who already has 1 kill into the mix, and Checo is just left spamming down shields at this point. The rest of Shiva Elite have rotated onto the high ground, and that's sort of put Supreme in a weird position where they're under the bridge. Now they advance forward onto the objective. Angel Velato trying to get out, but he's pulled away from his wall before he can get the altitude going. Phantom trades 1 back on the backside, but before he can take out both DPS, Fantasy goes to cover his Bastion, and now he's going to charge up this beam very quickly, getting a lot of damage done as Supreme attempt to re-engage. But those respawns are going to be there for Shiva Elite. A nice shot there onto Parrish as Alicia was looking to get around the corner. Fantasy cleaning things up, and Shiva Elite again with a very good starting attack.
Yeah, and it really, the Shiva Elite attack really just reminded me of that King's Row attack from the LA Gladiators all those years ago, with leaving their major damage dealer back and being able to just take pot shots from the into the enemy team.
And you're talking about pot shots here. Phantom all the way on the back high ground here as the rest of his team again tries to hold the point. He's just going to go for a quick Deadeye. He's going to peek around him before anyone can realize he gets rid of Zedicast. So the amplification matrix up at the top, not really gaining too much. Air Terror is stuck between the McCree and the rest of Supreme. The McCree is going to take him out. We see Bastian attempting to get away. He does walk away with a single kill from the charge, but Supreme now have a lot of ultimates going up against the photon barrier of Shiva and those tanks as well.
Yeah, and as much as people say that the photon barrier is pretty much impenetrable, if you focus it down enough, you can get it down very quickly. Maybe not quickly, but you can still get it down before the time is up. But there comes the photon barrier out.
And they choose not to run with the teleporter there. They just speed boost onto the objective. The shatter comes through and it actually pins onto 1, but I believe the immortality field that extended its reach to save Psychonatch there. Fantasy with 3 kills there. The supercharger was enough to amplify that beam damage even more as it charged up. Again, 4 minutes on the clock for Shiva Elite as they storm through another attack. Supreme, will they be able to counter that out like they did on King's Row? Will they be able to put in another attack and force it to overtime rounds? That's something we'll just have to wait and stick around to see.
Yeah, and we didn't highlight this person enough. Fantasy, however, even if it wasn't on our little document that said MVP players, Fantasy is one of their MVP players for Shiva Elite. I believe we gave them MVP or we were going to give one of their notable players in their semifinals matchup. I forget which it was, but Fantasy, you need to keep that person in check as well. They're very good on those projectile heroes that we've been seeing them throughout this matchup. But if they can counter this huge time bank from Shiva Elite, it'll be only time will tell. We're gonna see Phantom onto this Symmetra here with Angel Velato on this May, which Angel Velato has been putting so much work on with this May, getting nice kills with the icicles. But it's really just going to be up to the team coordination of Supreme. Can they stick together and focus down targets that Phantom is focusing with that focusing beam? Or not, that's a completely different character. Sorry.
Yeah, both very high damage dealing characters here. We see Fastian just sort of looking for maybe a teleporter, looking for the rotation that Supreme is going to run out with. but a lot of damage done early again, and Supreme is able to walk through this choke without putting the teleporter down. They choose to move on to the objective now, and they do set up, much like Shiva Elite did. They were able to implant themselves on the objective last attack, and you see so much damage already coming through. I think this does favor Supreme just because they have control at this point, and they're able to wait it out until Shiva Elite walks into the microwave. That's exactly what happens to Psycho Naj there, and maybe Fantasy as well. They do clean up that kill. I believe Checo gets one in the mix as well. Gets rid of Zilla now, so a lot of support gone. Maybe it could be possible for Shiva Elite to re-engage, but I still don't like their chances too much. The Photon Barrier is enough for Phantom to send two back in, and Supreme moving on to point B with a very similar time bank. This could be a map with a lot of rounds.
Yeah, you'd have to expect it. 6 minutes, and I don't know how much because our thing is a little choppy at the moment, but that does not matter. Phantom getting so many picks in that last fight, doing great. What a nice wall coming out from Fantasy there.
Yeah, the wall stops up the speed boost just a bit, but Supreme able to get on the objective at the last moment. A lot of damage going to be poured in from the Deadeye, but the headshot comes through before Checo can release the trigger there. Kills coming through every which way as now Supreme gets 3 again by the hands of Phantom. Angel Velato looking for those respawns coming out of the gates. Not able to wall up Checo as he gets onto the objective, but Zil and Nell will do the deeds of the killing there. Also getting rid of Air Terrorist now. Bastien overshoots his pin, misses the objective there, but all of it was already said and done. Supreme now has the faster time back.
Yeah, man, it really came in from those nice kills from Phantom as well. And then Angel Velato getting that nice wall up. Didn't get Checo with it, but it still cut off the rest of the team, and that's really looking good for Supreme to be able to win this matchup, win this map here, Nishby.
Yeah, it's a lot about these DPS duels, and right now Phantom is finding his identity on the McCree and on the Symmetra here. Able to pop off on both of those heroes since our overtime rounds in King's Row. But if we take a look at Shiva Elite, they're also going to be running out with a teleporting strategy like their last attack. And I mean, they put 2 points up on the board pretty fast. I think they should be able to do it again, in all honesty, if they stack up their ultimates well. It'll all come down to winning this first fight, though. It's a lot about the snowball potential here, especially in overtime.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that sentiment. They definitely need to win this fight fast, or I feel like if they can't win this in the first 2 minute and 30, I don't think they're going to win this point out.
Yeah, when you're able to capture objective A in overtime, typically you get halted on B just because by the time your 2 minutes boils down, you've most likely used all of your ultimates to get through point A, and it's so easy to hold B here, especially on Hanamura. You see the teleport again going to the high ground here. Phantom is also on the Symmetra, and he's just set up a microwave on the point, so Shiva Elite unable to take a position there. They also have the wall to maybe block some incoming damage from Shiva Elite. The pull comes through, and it's a lot of damage coming through from the Fire Strike as well. The follow-up from Bastien there as usual. Both Symmetras charging up their beams, but Silanel goes down. That's a perfect pick there for Shiva Elite, and now they should be able to clean this up pretty easily. The boop comes through onto 2 from Psycho Naj, getting a bit of Reddit Lucio in as well. Fantasy cleaning things up with that charged up beam. Now Shiva Elite, like we were talking about, they might be able to snowball it onto point 2, charging up towards that amplification matrix down the chatter.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Seti Cat almost up to that amplification matrix. If they can get a nice pull, halt, Fire Strike combination coming in, we could see another capture of point 2 here, but they're going to already just be on point thanks to that teleporter.
Yeah, they send themselves all the way through to the back side of the point. Bastien so low, but the Immortality Field is perfectly placed there to keep him alive. He drops in the Shatter, and the follow-up is there. Shiva Elite now puts the Photon Barrier into the mix, and Phantom had swapped over onto the Kree, so there's no ult to counteract that one. It's just a lone Mei on the point. Checo gets rid of Angel Volato with the Deadeye. Now the tanks are coming back in, but I don't think they can stabilize long enough, even with the Shatter landing onto so many. Psychonauts with the sound barrier as a celebration. 30 seconds on the clock. Those 30 seconds are very crucial for Shiva Elite, because if I'm being honest, I think Supreme might be able to put 4 points on the board as well. But then the time bank would probably shift in Shiva Elite's favor if that happens.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. Especially with how well the attack of Supreme was earlier. I think you can see another round of this coming up. It just really depends on if Supreme will be able to match the time bank, or are they going to be in overtime. They're still going to get to a push either way, because it's not more than a minute for Shiva Elite. But the time bank's going to be the big deciding factor if we go into another round.
And Chaco is now on the Junkrat, something that I was maybe wanting to see in the previous rounds, especially from the defending sides, but it looks like it's going to come out from defense from Shiva Elite now. I think that it should help to stop up the teleporter from Supreme. I think if they set up on the objective like Shiva Elite did on the defense, then they might be able to, or like Shiva Elite Supreme did on the defense, then they should be able to pour in a lot more damage. Because they don't have a Mei, but they're still going to spam down those shields a lot.
Yeah, they're going to be able to spam. Oh my goodness, yes, they're going to be able to spam down those shields with Fantasy and Checo. 2 major shield break characters, especially that Symmetra, which eats shields for breakfast pretty much. That's the main thing with that Proton Projector. That charges up just by shield, and you don't use any ammo if you are shooting shield with it. So you go in for this fight, you're gotta be able to get steady cat or psycho mag out of it if you are the side of Supreme here.
I think one thing to note is that Chaco already almost has a Riptire. He put the trap up on the top in expectation that the teleporter would come through from that side, and it did, so he was able to charge up, I think, 30% towards his Riptire in just a single second. He's going to use it now that the amplification matrix is out. He doesn't get any kills this time around, so Supreme may be able to re-engage once they support back up their team and get their respawns into the fight. But Angel Volato goes down. The wall doesn't really separate anything out from this objective, so it should be a nice fight win here, and the stagger picks come through. Seticat with 2 as Psychonauts speeds Shiva Elite forward. They also have some ultimates here for this next fight, so they should be able to burn it down to overtime.
Yeah, I can see that happening here. Fantasy and Fastien having their ultimates online. It's going to be able to mitigate a lot of damage with Fantasy's ultimate. And Fastien just looking for another big shatter that he's been getting all throughout this series.
Yeah, maybe another flank shatter coming through. Chaco is already up to another Riptire nearly. He's 3/4 of the way there, and I think the rest should come as Supreme tries to push beyond Fantasy's ultimate here. They dropped it right in front of the objective just to halt up this time bank even more. But Phantom now dropping his own Photon Barrier. You see Frostbit just committing the solo shatter here, and that might be the one pick that they need. Again, it's a good immortality field, but it goes by the wayside because the Fire Strike comes through straight into the pole. Frostbit with 3, and Supreme move forward. Oh, this is going to be super tough to walk into the next point, though, because there's both support ultimates. There is a supercharger, and Chaco has a Riptire just to force out those cooldowns.
Yeah, but before we get into that, Frostbit using that shatter onto Fantasy, you gotta like it, because how much damage that Symmetra can do. But check out getting that first pick on the zone now, and a 3K tire, and I think that's gonna be it for this map.
Yeah, I don't see the re-engage coming through at this point. There's 20 seconds left, so Supreme, they are spawning way over in another country, basically. They're going to have to swap the stall picks, but they put Phantom on the Kree just to maybe take the high ground. But only Dinks is going to have to sacrifice his own life, and now that Fantasy is on the Sombra, it's almost sure that he's going to die trying to contest this objective. You see Chaco actually moving back onto the Bastion. Only Dinks just activating that overtime for a split second, but we see a sort of side battle here on the backside. Fastien is frozen up, so it's 1 kill for the attacking side, but still they try and stagger onto the objective, and it's not going to be enough. The setup was too strong from Shiva Elite there on the low ground, and Supreme won't be able to get their full team even into the mix. That means that Shiva Elite is going to put their second map up on the board.
And it was really smart plays coming out from Shiva Elite. They knew that Supreme would have to switch to style characters, and so they didn't have any ultimates online for their DPS, so they swapped the DPS. They swapped Fantasy over to that Sombra because they knew the Wrecking Ball was going to be there to contest. So they hacked the Wrecking Ball up, and they get him out of that fight as quickly as possible. And then we saw Checo swapping over to that Bastion just to get damage out as quick as possible. And we saw that as well with him focusing down multiple characters for the side of Shiva Elite, and they take that map 4-3.
Very strong performance from Shiva Elite there, but Supreme still keeping it neck and neck here, and our next map is going to be Rialto. I think, honestly, we're going to see another mirror here between the Rhino-Rissa. I think the choke points are very strong to hold here for this spam type composition. I think that we're probably going to see a lot more Mei, especially as we move into the last objective onto point C. It's really tough to push into a Mei up there, especially when you're getting parts of your team walled off through those choke points, especially at the very end. It's going to be tough for the attacking sides to get all the way through this map because Escort has primarily been the map type that stops up a lot of these attacking teams. We will just have to see, though, because we are actually ready to move forward. Joker, anything else you would want to speculate about as we jump into Rialto?
I don't know, man. I think you gotta say Shiva Elite looking really strong after that. But Supreme still can bring it back, especially if we bring it back to Kings Row. They looked so good on that Escort part of the hybrid map type. So we could see another tie going into our map 5 here.
Yeah, it definitely opens itself up to a different type of play where Supreme can sort of control this payload a bit better than Shiva Elite. But we are just going to jump straight in. I think seeing a Symmetra probably less common here, as we do have Shiva Elite on the attack. They're still in the red. You've got Supreme on the defense. They've got Wanted into the match on the Baptiste, so I believe that was a swap there, but that's going to be it in terms of substitutions. Back on the Mei McCree, definitely very expected, and it's going to be a mirror across the board.
Yeah, well, almost a mirror. Fantasy going to be on that Sombra instead of the Mei. They might switch it up if they figure out what they're running, but still, Sombra can get so much value getting rid of those shields for the side of Supreme, being able to get more damage out from Checo, Airter, and Bastien. But we're gonna see him swap over back to a Symmetra. Interesting enough. Which we were both not really expecting that to see. I was expecting him to swap over to Mei after getting just doing a little peeking to see how the team is playing.
Yeah, I think Mei is probably the smarter move here, but we'll see if Symmetra is able to set up those teleporters to maybe gain control of the high ground here. We see a nice rotation coming through from Shiva. They make every single player get through that side, except for SuddyCat, who does have to use the Immortality Field to get through. So that's a bit of utility gone there, as SuddyCat was lagging behind the team, and it could put the advantage in Supreme's favor. But if we look at now how the rotations are panning out, Shiva Elite is sort of in the better stance. They get to push through where the defense would usually stand, which is an advantageous position. They now have this amplification matrix. The Fire Strike comes through, and that puts everyone in such low health now that the Immortality Field is gone. And they're just about ready to go with their own Immortality Field if we think about these cooldowns. Bastien also has a Shatter ready to put in the mix, but that's going to be halted up for just a second as Fantasy now goes down. Looking at the sound barrier charges, there could be a possible re-engage for Psycho Match, best of the crew, but we see the Shatter laid down on 2-2. Perish not quite ready to go with that sound barrier yet, so it's going to force out yet another Immortality Field, but only Dinks cleans up 3. And after a 2-minute fight, Shiva Elite cannot get quite past that corner.
Yeah, and the thing about the rotating around that we saw from Shiva Elite, we've seen that a lot of times in a lot of higher elos. Taking in that defensive standpoint gives you so much more utility. You can be able to, the defensive positioning is just so much better for the, it's just so much better on anything really. We've seen it on a lot of hybrid maps from a lot of OWL teams, but it did not work in the favor of Shiva Elite, and they're going to be taking the high ground here.
Yeah, they do take that high ground, and if we look at this duel between the Mei and the Symmetra Fantasy, nowhere close to the Photon Barrier, and Angel Volato had just poured in that Blizzard already, so you can definitely see more value coming from that facet of the composition here for Supreme, as it looks like they secure yet another battle.
Yeah, Angel Volato getting that pick onto SteadyCat is going to be huge after using that amplification matrix. Getting no real value from it as well. But we're looking in this next fight. There's so many ultimates coming up online. 4 ultimates to speak of soon for Shiva Elite. They just got to really dump in these ultimates and they can win it out. We're going to look for a big shatter coming out from Fantasy here. Or, sorry, not Fantasy, Fastien. But we're going to see Chaco doing his signature flank high noon.
But Supreme had already pushed past, a bit unlucky there, but now right as they fall back, they get the Deadeye down. Chaco with 3 in that fight, and they used a lot of ults, but they made it worth it, and they might be able to walk it down past Objective A. I expect maybe a stall coming through from Supreme, but they don't really have much on the board to contest for long.
We're going to be able to see a recontest thanks to that Lucio speed boost. And it's going to be, for the long fight, it's going to be Supreme in Supreme's favor here. Angel Volato almost up to this Blizzard here. It's really going to be if he can get up to this Blizzard, is if Supreme can hold it. But Chaco is going to get that first pick on the Paris. That's going to be huge.
Yeah, absolutely gigantic there. Now that SteadyCat drops in the amplification matrix, it's just so much damage coming through. Monte just dips off the side there, and Shiva Elite capture in overtime. It's very tough to push these escort maps, and we already see that coming into play, but Shiva Elite will move forward onto the streets phase. Now is where it gets interesting, because if you have a good streets phase, that sets you up for point C. If you have a bad one, then you could just be stopped, and that could be the end of the map.
Yeah, and ultimates are already online for Supreme to start this, start the hold, and we're gonna see if here comes the Blizzard out from Angel Volato, looking to get people in it, but no, they're just gonna get sped right out of it. But a big shatter coming out from Bastien.
Yeah, Fastien lays down both of the tanks there. The speed boost was huge there from Psychonatch to get everyone out of the line of sight from the Blizzard. Fire Strike's trading back multiple kills here. Shiva Elite is sort of separated on the objective now. It looks like Supreme is going to try and collapse onto a few of those players, as they were pushing the cart all the way, but they did get a bit separated from the rest of their team. Fastien's stuck in a corner. He's going to go down. A minute and a half on the clock here for Shiva Elite, but they did get it pretty far in that one fight.
Yeah, and I'm still confused on how they got it that far. They were fighting on cart, but then it got to almost the end of the end of point 2. I'm still very confused how that went out, but both McCree's having their dead eyes online here, looking for it. Who's gonna get the pick? No one's gonna get a pick from that dead eye.
Yeah, both of them just having a bit of a standoff there, but all it's really going to land on is into the shields. Fastien is wrapping around the backside, I think, for an Earth Shatter, but he gets one with the Fire Strike. The Shatter is blocked by Frostbite, and now they collapse onto Fastien, who charges all the way back and doesn't quite make it out. Fantasy now with the Photon Barrier, and Supreme is on the back foot momentarily. All of those turrets sent back onto the wall, and no one can really look at them as they're stuck trying to get rid of the players on the objective now. So those turrets still doing a lot of damage. Fantasy with 3 actually here now that those turrets are continuing to get kills, means that they will push it into point C, and now they have a minute and a half on the clock. I think this is probably the place that Supreme has the best chance of stopping them up.
Yeah, you can expect that to be the case of Angel Velato having that Blizzard online. I'm wanted as well with that amplification matrix. But before we get into that, we were dissing in this Symmetra pick from Fantasy NSB, and it's looking so good for right now.
Oh, a nice Blizzard coming through. Angel Velato pays for it with this life, and the Immortality Field is so close to going down. Frostbite gets one right as that animation expires, and only Dinks is going to clean up the rest along with the help of Phantom. Both of those players getting 2Ks at the end of the fight. SetiCat dipping off the side. The ult economy still relatively even, Joker.
Yeah, and we're going to see Angel Velato swapping over to the Symmetra here. But yeah, you've got the ult economy still somewhat in favor of Supreme, but it could take just one fight to change that, really. Air Terror and Bastian almost up to their ultimates as well.
Looks like Shiva Elite now wrapping around the backside. Typically when you push through the stairwell, you're gonna get a bit more of opposition from the enemy's side, but Supreme is playing it safe. I believe the supercharger got destroyed by the objective. I'm not sure if it's active right now after only Dinks placed it, so it looks like Angel Velato nevertheless will get the kills. The sound barrier comes through kind of late from Psychonetch, and they don't even touch the point. Unlucky there, as they weren't able to use the sound barrier to get to the point before overtime began, and it's a weird spot to be halted on point C. Typically, you get halted farther out from that corner and under the bridge, so that may give Supreme just a bit of an edge to win this map.
Yeah, you'd have to expect, like you said, you don't really normally see that hold come, or that where they held it come in. You usually see it in the doors of the church, or just not even to point 3 at all. But it'll be really interesting. You gotta seem Supreme's looking a little bit more confident after that hold there, especially with Angel Velato swapping over to that Symmetra and trying to counteract Fantasy's amazing Symmetra coming out from Shiva Elite.
I think Chaco actually plans to roll out on the Junkrat here. He's on the defense here for Shiva Elite, and I'm not sure if the Junkrat will get us much value as it did on Hanamura on our last map, but I think a lot of damage will be dished out either way. You see Supreme maybe opting for the same comp as they do. They actually keep the Symmetra here, so we're going to see a mirror from both of those DPS lines. No maze to be seen across the board.
I was about to say, we saw Phantom locking that Genji. I don't think that's, I was about to say, I don't think that's the smartest thing to do, but no, we're going to see him back onto that McCree that he's been so good on this series.
Yeah, I think a Genji into a Symmetra Junk composition would not be the most fun experience there for the attacking side, but they're going to run out with the more conventional comp. They're going to mirror everything except for that Junkrat, who's already getting a lot of damage done, forcing the rotation to the high ground here. You see the DPS line teleporting out the side, and now Supreme makes it out onto the balcony. It's a bit of a standoff here, as those mines aren't going to have the best angle to get up on the high ground. Still a lot of damage coming from Chaco, though, as they push around the corner. Fight still not really breaking out, and it's reminiscent of how Shiva Elite played this attack. The fight hadn't really broken out until halfway through our second minute of the fight, but now the kills coming through. Fantasy attempting to destroy the teleporter, but that's all he's going to walk away with. This only Dinks Phantom again popping off, and that could just be point A captured.
Yeah, it was a nice play coming in from Phantom. Too many people with PH names on this in this series, but Phantom getting those picks as well with only Dinks here. Those two have been such standout players for Supreme so far.
Fastian's shield just vanishing out of existence there. He's going to have to wait for it to recharge for a couple seconds. The photon barrier comes through, and Shiva Elite attempts to collapse on the lagging behind bits of Supreme, but we see trades every which way. Now Chaco drops in the Riptire, and he gets 3 absolutely gigantic there. He was so low health as he deployed it, and Phantom will walk away with the kill. But nevertheless, Shiva Elite getting some huge ultimates to stop up that fight.
Yeah, and we're gonna see Checo swapping over to the McCree now. But yeah, there's big ultimates online. But Air Terror getting the pick on the Phantom. That's gonna be huge. That main source of damage out of the equation for 10 seconds. And now he's gonna be coming back, but it's gonna be enough time to get Checo back to the team.
Yeah, you see Parrish just speed boosting the rest of the squad around. They actually teleport all the way onto the objective here, not opting to take the high ground duelist. Now Aeroterror is going to drop down with the supercharger, but a lot of ultimates poured in from Supreme, currently killing off the utility, but now they find some real kills there. Fast CN just sort of pinning Phantom out of a boop or something happened there, but it was definitely a bit wild, and Shiva Elite are just going to crumble under the power of 5 ultimates that Supreme put in.
Yeah, we saw, oh wow, what a nice shots coming in from Checo there. But we saw, I can't really talk about what I wanted to because we're in another fight, NSP.
Yeah, the teleport got Shiva Elite back into the mix. They also had the speed boost. Psychonauts actually committed the sound barrier as well because Checo got that single pick. It was enough for Shiva Elite to feel like they were confident in getting back on the objective, and they do right before it is captured. They also have some ultimates in this next fight.
Yeah, and now I forgot what I wanted to talk about, but we go in here, we're gonna see them teleporting again to this high ground position. Nice halt coming out from Air Terror, but the Shatter coming out as well from Frostbit.
Oh, so much damage, and unfortunately he cannot follow up onto his beautiful Earth Shatter. Fantasy is pulled off the high ground, but he drops in the Photon Barrier to help himself out for a second. And it also aids his team in their attempts to kill off Supreme, and Psychonauts will get to at the end of that engagement. And still, the ult economy looking good for Shiva Elite. They have 2 minutes left that they still must hold to put up a victory on this map, though.
Yeah, 2 minutes left. Here comes the Dead Eye from Checo, getting rid of the shield, most likely. Said he got getting rid of the Immortality Field. And we're really seeing this side really just in a stalemate right now. Fastian gonna go down, however. That's gonna be huge.
I'm not sure if Shiva Elite did want to drop. It might have been a pull from Only Dinks, but either way, they found themselves in quite the bad spot there, and Checo actually gets 2 on the backside again. This time, Phantom will kill him off, and this time, the objective is probably going to be captured here as now the Deadeye comes through. There's a supercharger in an attempt to re-engage for Shiva Elite, but now you see the Photon Barrier coming out. A lot of ultimates actually used from Shiva Elite there, but they do lose the fight, and they're getting staggered out late, and that could really just be the map.
Yeah, 2 minutes and 45 seconds left. They've got Only Dinks here's supercharger online. Phantom is gonna be a lot online with that Deadeye as well, and only Psychonauts' sound barrier to really counteract the supercharger from the side of Supreme.
Yeah, Shiva Elite forced to sort of walk out into the open here. The Shatter comes through, it doesn't get anything, and Frostbit, I believe, committed a Shatter early in the fight to the same sort of outcome. But you see the Fire Strike coming through now that the Supercharger is deployed. Psychonauts attempting to put the sound barrier in the mix from his side, and Checo with another 2K Deadeye is going to force back Supreme. I think at this point, Supreme wants to take another fight in which they force out this Amplification Matrix and the Photon Barrier, and then they should be able to capture.
You gotta expect that. With still 1 minute and 40 seconds left for the side of Supreme, they still got Phantom's Deadeye online, wanted as well with this Amplification Matrix, and we're gonna be using that Deadeye really quick earlier.
Yeah, it's coming out, and will probably do a lot of damage to this Photon Barrier, but nothing else comes through there as Shiva Elite commit their ults early. Now in this next piece of the engagement, Wanted is going to be the only check mark up on the board. You see Parrish coming close to a sound barrier, but that only ult in the lobby is going to come out for the engage here. Shiva Elite forced to walk again out into the open as they attempt to contest, and now Frostbit has another Earth Shadow ready to go. It's going to get one as Air Terror was just beyond Bastian's shield, but the rest of the team holds strong. Chaco killed off in the backside. Angel Blotto now going to drop in this Photon Barrier, and it's too much for Shiva Elite to handle. We are all tied up, Joker, and it is 2-2 heading into our 5th map of the finals.
Yeah, and it's looking so good, especially after that a nice little plays coming in from Supreme, tying up the series. And now we're gonna go into another control map, and I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't think after we saw them on their first control map, Shiva Elite looked just so much better than Supreme. But maybe now that Supreme has adapted and has gone into that double shield composition, we might see a different result here.
I think that control is probably one of the better map types for Shiva Elite. I wouldn't be too surprised if they won it out here on this next map, but our next map is going to be Oasis. And while we speculate about the compositions that either side can run, I think the city center is maybe the only spot where you try and run something else, but I still think the mirror matchup is going to be the case here. But we're going to take a short intermission. If you guys need a drink, if you need to go to the bathroom through this long series, now's the time to do it, because we're going to be getting back into the series very soon with our 5th map. It is a first of 4, so we could see quite a few more maps with Joker, or this could be where something really starts going downhill from either side. We'll see you guys on the other side of that break with more PS4 finals action. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the PS4 T6 finals. Again, after another intermission, we are all tied up, and Joker, this is getting to be a fun series. We're seeing a lot of pop-off plays between either side, but Supreme tying it up after Rialto. That means that we are going on to Oasis, onto Control as our next map type. And like we were talking during the break and a bit before it, I think this does favor Shiva Elite. I think that they're just a bit better on this map type. We'll see if Supreme attempts to run the disruption comp yet again, but I think at this point in the series, the mirror is set in stone. I think both of these teams are just going to have to see who is better on each map type on this specific composition.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. After Shiva Elite's role on first point, or it wasn't really a role, but it was pretty much one-sided affair, but on the first control point of Lijiang Tower, and then we see the progressing Supreme switching over to that double shield composition, and then we saw them take that map, and then we've seen them progressively get better through the series. I think we could see Supreme taking this map and going 3-2 up in the series now.
Yeah, they've found their identity. They've got the momentum now after they won Rialto. But we're just going to keep it rolling. Both of these two teams are firing bullet after bullet at each other, back and forth. But jumping into the Oasis Gardens, I think it'll be interesting to see if the Symmetras are used to take the high ground here, because both teams are on it. It might just be to get out of spawn, but I think teleporting to the top of the point is definitely a smart strategy to go with.
Yeah, if you can control that high ground, you can really control the fight, control the pace of play. And I think that's what we're seeing from both teams. They want to get that control of the point as early as possible, and it looks like the side of both teams are going to get there at the exact same time.
Yeah, Shiva Elite dropping in the teleporter, Supreme doing the exact same thing. Both of them just forced down after so much damage was bursted into the teleporting members of either side. Only Dinks out in the open here. He's going to get a chain of headshots fired into his skull. Checo with the opener here as Psychonage getting back into the Reddit Lucio way of things, finding another boop. As the cleanup comes from Shiva Elite, they already have an amplification matrix for the next fight, and they got the stagger as well from Fantasy.
Yeah, Fantasy getting those nice early, late picks, into the opposition. Almost building up to that proton barrier. Chaco as well, almost up to their dead eye. SetiCat already online with that amplification matrix. I'm wanted not even close at the moment. That's gonna be really interesting to see if they can get in this fight. Here comes Shaco's Deadeye. And
Oh, it's a 4K!
oh my goodness.
Take a bow, Checo. You've just demolished Supreme here, and you have maintained control for Shiva Elite, building up to 50% now as the ult economy maintains in their favor. All they had to do was drop in the amplified Deadeye, and that's one for the highlight reels, Joker.
Yeah, it was a nice play coming in from Checo. Knowing when to pop that Deadeye and knowing that they would have this, and now we're gonna see Only Dinks here swapping off this, swapping off the Orisa, trying to disrupt this team that are cemented on the high ground. It's gonna be really difficult to get them off this high ground, and they gotta go with that wrecking ball to use it, and that's a big shatter coming out from Cassian.
Yeah, Fast CN dropping in the Earth Shatter onto the supports as well as the Deadeyeing Phantom. You see the rest of Supreme just dip off of the side as Only Dinks here. It's going to be tough for him to disrupt. We've been saying it the entire series. I don't know if the Wrecking Ball is going to be enough to get Shiva Elite off this point in overtime.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you. It's not really worth running it, especially with the Symmetra being right there, the turret slowing you down so much. It might not be worth it, but the Symmetra turret's coming in great for Angel Volato right now.
Checo with the wrap around flashbang onto Phantom. He's able to clean up that kill, but Parrish lands a massive sound barrier here to keep Supreme in the fight, to keep things going their way. But Psychonauts now with the re-engage, they drop both of their damage amplification ults in the supercharger and the window there, and you see both of those getting huge kills as Only Dinks tries to roll through, dropped in the minefield, but it didn't get enough for Supreme to hold on. They did trade a few kills, but Phantom's the only one left on the point. He's chased down by Facian as all of his cooldowns expire, and Shiva Elite looking as strong as ever on their best map type.
Yeah, they're looking very, very strong right now, NSB, and you've got to expect them to keep looking this strong. Maybe it wasn't enough to be looking really strong on that double shield composition that Supreme, how strong Supreme was looking up on the double maintain composition. And it's just looking like Shiva Elite has just got all these control points on lock.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Supreme will even be able to get one of these control points on the board, let alone two here. They're going to be moving into the University if they can claim the victory on City Center, though. And it could be a different story within the University. It plays more like an assault map, and they were able to contest Shiva Elite more in those assault categories, but the teleporter actually comes through onto the high ground from Supreme. Shiva Elite now on the low side, trying to set up on the point. This could be quite a long fight, Joker, as they maintain their postures.
Yeah, the high ground is going to be so much better, but we're going to have to drop down eventually as we see Frostbit dropping down first. We're going to see, oh, a nice sneaky teleporter coming in from Angel Volato, looking to get some damage into the backline of Shiva Elite.
Yeah, and they're all just sort of firing from different angles here. That's the advantage that high ground offers. Even when you drop down, you can leave a member. You can send one around the backside like Angel Volato has done a few times here. And right when they turn their heads, the Fire Strike comes through. So much damage being poured in from Supreme. But the Amplification Matrix first comes out from Shiva Elite. So now they're all the way back in this one. Both of these Symmetras charging up those beams quite a lot, as now that Amplification Matrix expires on one side. Ooh, a nice headshot. The follow-up from Seti Cat means that maybe the support is enough for Shiva Elite to get through this fight. You see a photon barrier used now, and the shatter around the backside, jumping around the corner is fast. CN able to catch Supreme by surprise. The counter shatter from Frostbit won't be enough, even though he did get a kill back for his team. And after such a long fight, Air Terror beginning to get in the squats, and this boils down to just a couple percent from Shiva Elite after nearly a minute of battles.
Yeah, and Ultimate's armor, he almost online again for Seti Cat. Look at that, almost up to that second amplification matrix after only really one long fight. But Shaco and Fantasy having their ultimates online is going to be huge for this next fight.
Yeah, and Shiva were able to save their photon barrier for this one, and now that their amplification matrix and set ultimate comes out, it's going to be Supreme just sort of trying to wrap around the side, taking their patient move this time around. You see the Deadeye dropped in, but it looks like Wanted and the rest of the crew will be able to retreat around the pillar for now. Phantom gets one on the other side with the Deadeye of his own, as now Checo moves all the way in here. Phantom is cleaned up, but only Dinks is going to get that trade. Now the Supercharger is gone. Error Terror's Fortify expires. That should be the cap coming through from Supreme.
Yeah, and maybe didn't want to invest that Supercharger if you're Error Terror. Maybe use it for this re-engage that's gonna be necessary, but especially with all the ultimates that are online for Supreme now, they have that Photon Barrier online, they have the Earth Shatter, and they have that Amplification Matrix. If they had that Supercharger online, they could have been huge for this. Huge for their engagement here.
Yeah, I think that the ultimate is very good for engagements, like you said, and the pull fire strike combo through the amplification matrix should be good to go here for Supreme. We'll see when they opt to use it. It looks like the immortality field is out early. Both shatters landed into shields as fast CN using the oldest trick in the book there at this point in the series. Still a lot of ultimates ready to go from either side. Angel Volato a bit ahead in the Photon Barrier charge. He's going to put that one into the mix, but no real kills come from it. And now that Checo has found this headshot, it could be the fight going the way of Shiva Elite. Supreme forced to use a lot of cooldowns, forced to use some ultimates as well, but they do get a few picks back in this one. Fantasy might opt to use the Photon Barrier for now. They're just sort of contesting a point where Supreme already has it in contention, though.
Yeah, and we saw picks coming in from the side of Supreme through that amplification matrix. Unwanted getting a nice value from it, and it's looking good. It's Supreme have been taking the oh my goodness, I can't remember what I wanted to say, but here we go. Next fight coming in.
Yeah, Seticat again with the opener here. So many skulls on live for Checo, but it's only going to get rid of those shields. And while all of that shield break comes through, the tanks are able to capitalize. And Shiva are going to get back in control. Supreme looking for maybe one last capture to put us into overtime. If they do win out the next fight, then I imagine they put the point up on the board.
Yeah, if they can win this next fight. But right now, only Dinks here having that ultimate online is going to be huge for this re-engagement, and we're going to see how they get into this next fight. If I'm expecting them to use it as soon as they touch the point, or when they have to drop.
Yeah, that Supercharger used by only Dinks here. You see Fast CN ready to go with the Earth Shatter as well to maybe counter things out. Both support ults very close to coming online here for Shiva Elite. And now overtime is active. The wraparound Shatter this time gets 2 down on the ground, but Frostbite on the other side is the one able to actually follow up onto their Earth Shatter. So many kills coming through. Only Dinks here gets the cleanup done. And it is so close to a win on a control point here for Supreme and maybe getting themselves back into this map.
Yeah, and Fantasy swapping over to that Tracer with Bastien as well onto the Wrecking Ball. Stall Heroes coming out. There comes the beat from Psychodash.
Yeah, and I'm fine with the usage of the sound barrier there because it keeps that Lucio alive, and now the rest of the team can maybe get back to stall things out, and it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. Shiva Elite now has a lot of members left in the fight. Bastien zooming around this point, and Fantasy getting so much done on the Tracer. The damage amplification came through from the Supercharger, and they win a fight that they had no business in winning. Overtime is going to tick down. I don't think Fantasy can touch. No, he can't, and Shiva Elite turning around that map, getting it back in their favor. They lock down another control map, and they make it a 3-2 series onto match point.
Yeah, and it was really just thanks to Fantasy again. Getting that first pick in that fight that they, like you said, they had no business in winning that. And, but Fantasy getting that pick onto the opposition, making it a 5v6, and then Fastien coming back on that Wrecking Ball, getting so much displacement and getting damage done onto the opposition. And in the end, it just flipped in favor of Shiva Elite. And it's looking good for them to take this full series. But like Supreme did have that win on King's Row, so we could see another map after Blizzard World that's coming up right next.
Yeah, Blizzard World going to be the next map in the series. It's going to be map 6 of this crazy one, and we could see a match reminiscent of the Tier 5 finals on Friday night. That was one that went all the way down to the wire, and that could be the case here in Tier 6 as well. Supreme has a chance to tie it up as they move on to Blizzard World. I think I'm wondering if they opt for the May or the Symmetra here. I think both can maybe work on different sections of the map. Joker, what do you think is the best pick?
I'm thinking Symmetra point 1. Getting that high ground is really important, as well as point 2. So we could probably see Symmetra point 1 and point 2, and then May point 3 getting, because the lot closer sight lines and a lot more enclosed areas on point 3. So we could probably see Symmetra point 1 and point 2, and then May point 3.
Yeah, definitely expected of these two teams to run the May and the Symmetra. I think Kree is going to be one of the star damage dealers in this next map from either side. I think both of the McCrees are very good at what they do, and I think that they're definitely going to want to stay on that hit scan here. But we are going to just jump straight in. We're ready to go with our next map. I think, again, the Disrupt comp, probably not the best pick here. Both teams currently hovering over the double shields, and both teams on the Symmetra. You called it, Joker.
Yeah, it's gonna see. It's really about controlling that high ground to start off with, and whoever can control, if Shiva Elite or Supreme can control it, is really who's going to be able to win this first point out.
Yeah, Supreme now on the defense. I believe they've been on the defense in a lot of these different maps, so it will be interesting to see if they can take advantage of it in its full extent here. Chaco on the Kree, Fantasy on the Symmetra. We'll see the rotation coming out for Shiva Elite, though. I'd expect them to maybe teleport up to the high ground. They could get all the way in the faces of Supreme, though.
Yeah, they could just get up in the faces of Supreme, but they're probably going to opt for this high ground like we're seeing them go for right now. And then probably going to opt to get to that behind high ground, but I'm Wanted gonna get that first pick on the Psycho Nash. They'd have no more Lucio speed boost for the time being.
Yeah, the shields hadn't been deployed there from Fastien or Error Terror, and that left their squishy targets vulnerable as they rotated around the back side. Phantom currently controlling a high ground that will most likely be contested by the teleporter here. Shiva is going to ramp around all the way from the backside. They're still down one player though, so I'd expect Supreme to get in a lot of early spam damage despite the positioning now going Shiva Elite's way. They begin to get their assault from the high ground. They actually do drop down onto the back side of the point, and it's a bit better positioning from them because Frostbite, no shield in the mix there, and he's just forced to retreat yet again. One tick probably up on the board. Yes, it does come in. Seti Cap, Wanted, both have amplification matrices. It's a battle of who can spam the most through it, and it looks like Shiva is currently winning. They might be able to touch this. They do at 96%, but the rest of the team is just going to fall one by one by one. Fantasy charging up that Photon Barrier a lot quicker than Angel Volato there, who does get one kill, but the damage was too much, and the patience from Shiva Elite coming out in that fight.
Yeah, we saw Fantasy getting some major damage done, and that being shown by getting that Photon Barrier in that first fight. And 4 minutes and 39 seconds on the clock. You gotta like it from Shiva Elite's perspective. They've got a lot of time to go, and especially with this being championship point, you gotta like it. You gotta be confident if you're Shiva Elite right now.
Yeah, it's go time for Supreme, and they're going to drop down onto the low ground with the help of the Supercharger there. No sound barrier used. Nice discipline from Psycho Natch to save it for maybe a more important ult, as now Chaco drops in the Deadeye. He is immediately countered out, though.
Yeah, and that's a nice focus fire coming from the side of Supreme here. The sound barrier, our Supercharger begs my pardon, coming out, and there comes the Shatter out, gonna get one in the end, but it's not gonna get enough to follow up.
Now the Shatter from the other side, Frostbit is so low health, attempting to retreat behind the pillars here, but only Dinks wins the Orisa duel. I believe Shiva Elite just used 5 ultimates to get around that corner, and Supreme is now going to be able to re-engage closer than what Shiva Elite would have wanted here. Now they have their own Photon Barrier. They're going to send Shiva Elite back. Fastian has no shield as he just hides around the corner, and he is killed off. Nice patient play from Supreme this time around to win that fight.
Yeah, and we're not usually, that's not normal for Supreme. We're usually saying Shiva Elite's a really nice patient squad that knows when to capitalize on their opponent's mistakes, and we saw that from Supreme this time. Anyone can really do it, but it's normally a Shiva Elite thing, and here comes the Photon Barrier out from Fantasy, but she's gonna go down.
Yeah, they teleport straight into a trap there. Frostbit lands the Shatter, but as he tries to pin in, Aeroterror gets rid of him. Also gets rid of another here, so it's going to be a tough re-engage, a tough ask for Supreme to get back onto the point. Phantom actually gets one with the Deadeye, and they've sort of set up all of these low health targets around the high ground where they can't get too many kills. So Shiva Elite still having to settle with these trades. Now Perish speed boosts the tanks back into the fight. Wanted with some nice shots there on the Baptiste, and they win another fight due to their patience again. Supreme doing a nice job waiting for Shiva Elite to make their mistakes.
Yeah, and it's looking really good for Supreme here. Their hold is set in motion, and they know what they need to do. It's only Dinks here online with this supercharger, and I think that's going to be enough to hold it out here. Again, Chaku having his Deadeye online, but it might not be enough as he's going to go over to the point now.
Yeah, Checo all the way on the low ground here. You see Frostbit just dropping down, trying to swing away. A lot of damage comes onto him, but Checo is forced to retreat. Now Aeroterror goes down. He was caught out this time, and Angel Volato beams down Fantasy on the backside. Has this Photon Barrier ready to go. Not too much available for Supreme, so the Sound Barrier could be enough to push Shiva Elite through here.
It could be, and as well, they also have that supercharger online. Chaco not having to use that Deadeye as well. They've got 3 ultimates to speak of, only 1 online, and that's only the Photon Barrier for Angel Volato. Perish might be able to get this Sound Barrier up, but it's not looking good for them right now.
They sent the teleporter up onto the high ground, and a few of them took it, but it was destroyed and booped away. So Shiva Elite just wasting a couple seconds off the clock there, trying a rather aggressive engage, but now they drop in the supercharger as they wrap around the high ground. Phantom all the way on the backside, charging up close to a Deadeye. Jacko's gonna drop around the backside, get rid of only things before that shield fully deploys. And they use an aggressive amplification matrix while they try and take the positioning around it. They get shattered, and now the Sound Barrier comes through. Wanted pouring in a lot of damage, chooses to opt for the amplification matrix, maybe to seal the deal here, and it's about to be an overtime fight, and Shiva Elite still losing members.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're going to be able to recontest this. There's 5 seconds left. Psycho Nash isn't even close to getting back into the fight, and no one's gonna be able to touch.
Yeah, Fantasy was close to the Photon Barrier, but even with the teleporter, unable to get anywhere near the objective there, and it was a 4-minute hold on point B from Supreme. I was thinking that maybe Shiva Elite could have taken that last fight because there was no more room for Supreme to retreat like they were doing in the previous fights. They were able to retreat, let some objective capture get done, and then re-engage in the fight when the cooldowns and ultimates favored them. But we'll see if this patient play from Supreme can come out on the attack now, as Shiva Elite moving over to the defense. I wonder if they're going to opt for anything different. I wouldn't expect it, though.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. But right now, I still think, especially since it's championship point, you've got to think Shiva Elite is really maybe like on edge. It might be having jitters about winning this prize pool. So maybe that's why they're not playing up to their full potential. Maybe that's why they're making those risky plays, and because they're just in that mindset that we have to win it now, because if we lose this map, we could lose the next map as well.
Yeah, when you get this series all tied up, when Supreme, if they're able to tie up the series, then now they're the ones with all the confidence. Now they think that they can secure the championship. So the nerves for Shiva Elite are there as well, but if they put up a defense here, they could take the title. Like you said, they could take the prize pool home. Angel Velato still on the Symmetra, same with Fantasy here. Both of these teams opting for their teleport rotations. It looks like Shiva's teleporter is going to be ready on the high ground as Supreme takes their way back around the staircase. And now Shiva Elite looking for maybe a bit of an opening, but currently Supreme is positioned well on the high ground. They try and rotate around the backside, actually. Only Dinks looking to see where those players from Shiva Elite might pop out. Finds the pull onto SETI Cap, but no capitalization there. And it's nearly a minute wasted off the clock. Oh, Phantom is grouped down. Psychonauts forcing the entirety of Supreme to drop to follow up and take care of Phantom there on the low ground, but now they almost have an amplification matrix ready. Both sides nearly ready to go with that ultimate, and they both put it into the mix. Supreme and Shiva Elite choosing to back off around those corners and choosing to bide their time even more before they get onto this point.
Yeah, and there's a shatter coming out from Frostbite. Gonna get Fantasy, but Chaco's gonna get it back with the Deadeye kill, and it's anyone's game right now.
Angel Velato over in the backside, dropping the photon barrier along with the teleporter. He gets beamed down by the turrets though, and the unrelenting pressure from Shiva Elite, and this fight continues to boil down and down, but now Supreme is just cornered on the backside. Shiva Elite finally able to surge forward with the speed boost, with that man advantage, and they hold on. They also hold on to a lot of ultimates here.
And that was so much time as well. It's almost, we started at 4 minutes, it's down to 2 minutes now, only after one fight. And it's not looking good for Supreme right now. They've got to be more decisive, they've got to be more aggressive, they've got to get those picks. But 4 ultimates online for Shiva Elite, that's going to be very hard to push into.
Yeah, they could burn down this time bank even further here and force a capture in overtime. They might be able to get the full hold going, but no, they lose some members early there due to the pull fire strike combo coming through. Fantasy is gone, so no photon barrier coming out from the Symmetra there. Pulling Shiva Elite back into the mix as only Dinks gets rid of Air Terror on the Orisa. Now Chaco is trying to wrap around the backside, actually gets rid of Wanted, but they won't be able to contest this point for long. I think Supreme has it on lockdown, but they're moving into our next phase with less time on the bank. If Shiva Elite can take a leaf out of the Supreme book on this point B defense, then that could be their championship here. But Supreme, a pretty good chance here to win this next map.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you with that chance to win this map. But they don't have the ultimates to speak of to push it. They have Frostbite's Earth Shatter online, but with Fantasy having their photon barrier online, and they're going to just wait this out for a little bit. And that's going to get them down to about 3 minutes on the clock when they push again. But Chaco with a nice pick on the Angel Velato.
Yeah, and that's going to let them charge up the rest of their sound barriers. So Psychonauts will have the advantage in that Lucio ultimate there. You see an aggressive teleporter again coming through, but it's killed off. Shiva Elite playing it patient. Now they get the chance to hold in the choke that Supreme was unable to hold. They tried to stall out objective A and ended up giving up this position. Fastian wraps around and tries to land the Earth Shatter, but no kills are coming through here. Shiva Elite now forced to take their approach into the small room there due to the Deadeye of Phantom, who actually wraps all the way around. Chaco, oh no, out in the open, gets killed off, and definitely a bad spot for the McCree to be. I think that was a bit of a mistake there, as now Fantasy moves into the open ahead of his team as well, so mistakes from the DPS line cost Supreme nearly all of the capture on point B.
Yeah, and they're going to need to be able to get a nice re-engage here. They're going to be swapping Fastian off the Reinhardt because they need to get this re-engage. I don't know if that Fastian's going to be able to get this re-engage, but Chateau gonna go down in that early fight.
Yeah, you see only 3 members of Shiva Elite able to even touch the objective here, and one by one they go down. Only Dings, Frostbite, the rest of the team using all of their ultimates to secure that fight, and Supreme put themselves back in the series. It is 3-3. We're tied up, and we are going to a tiebreaker.
Yeah, map 7, and I believe it is an escort map. And it's gonna be really interesting to see because Supreme winning all of the Supreme won the 2 hybrid maps and then won the other escort map as well. We're gonna see if that trend continues. Supreme's gonna be your champion of tier 6.
Yeah, if they can keep up their escort work, then they should be able to secure the victory. But at this point, the nerves are reaching an all-time high. At this point, the mental is finally starting to get in both of these teams' heads. I think that in tier 6, they are able to weather the storm of just the mental stability here until maybe it reaches this point where one map is all that separates you and the other team from a huge prize pool here. But we're going to take a short break. It won't be long because we are nearly good to go into our next map. But after this intermission, we will see who takes home the prize pool in PS4 Tier 6. Don't go anywhere. You must stick around. Welcome back to the Tier 6 finals here at the Console Gaming League. These 2 PS4 squads have tied it up yet again. It's all 3-3 in this match, and we're heading to map 7. We're heading to the tiebreaker on Route 66. Joker, I mean, with all of the momentum going back and forth, who do you think it favors here as we enter our final map of the series?
Well, I was saying it before the break. Supreme winning both hybrid maps, and they won that last escort map of Rialto. We could see that if the trend continues, we could see Supreme winning it out here and winning the series. And I've got to say, I got to stick with Supreme right now. But Shiva Elite is that really calm and team that we've seen. If we can get them back to where they were, that calm team, that's patient team, and if they can do that, oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Reinvigorate themselves into this last map. We could see Shiva Elite also taking the series. It's really going to be who gets the upper hand in this first couple fights.
Yeah, it's a lot about the mental stability of these players to see if the fatigue gets them from playing a series this long, to see if it reaches them in terms of comms, if they're starting to get mad at one another due to losing some fights, due to having some mistakes. If we look back at King's Row, point A, but point B especially, definitely much like Route 66. If we think about Route 66, point A and point B, and you think back to Blizzard World, it's nearly the same thing, where there's a few high grounds where teams can position, but it's a lot about firing down these long sight lines, and it's a lot about rotating successfully. And currently, Supreme are the team that are able to rotate a bit more successfully. They're currently the team that has been playing these long sight lines better. So as we jump straight into our final map of the series, I'd probably have to give the edge to them as well, Joker.
Yeah, it's really just anyone's game. Like I said, if it's really going to determine these first couple fights, if Supreme can get these holds started, it could just end with a full hold, and the Supreme can be that the tier 6 champion. But I doubt that's gonna happen. I think Chiku and Fantasy and all of them are not gonna let this end on a full hold for Supreme.
Yeah, I think both of these teams at least has the power to push it beyond point A on the attack. With this mirror coming in again, I think SetiCat has done a lot better on the Baptiste in these recent maps. I think the substitution of Wanted coming in from Zillanel has sort of put the amplification matrix battle in Shiva Elite's favor instead. So maybe that's one path that Shiva Elite takes to get beyond these few choke points, as already the fight's boiling down here. Both immortality fields forced out, but right as it expires, Frostbite caught mid-swing. Shiva Elite already storming forward on to the next corner of Big Earls. They get the kills that they need to possibly lock up point A, but I expect a contest coming into a lot of ultimates though.
Yeah, you've got to expect a contest coming up here, as we already see Frostbite's going to be ready to recontest when this team gets back. But right now, it's looking good for Shiva Elite. They have the ultimates to speak of, and the only ultimates to speak of, and I think that's going to push this next fight in their favor.
They're currently taking a position on the low ground, but now that the Photon Barrier is deployed, they don't have to worry about a lot of the spam damage coming from on the top of Big Earl's roof from Supreme. Wanted has the Amplification Matrix ready to go, and I believe both teams will be opting to use it soon here. Bastien tries to land the Shatter on the stairs like he usually does, but Psychonage is the one opening up the battle here. 2 picks as the support lines pop off. Phantom trades 1 back, but Psychonage gets 4 in this fight on the Lucio. Gets the 5th melee and sends Shiva Elite into point B.
Wow, what a play coming out from Psychonage, looking to say, hey, we're not out of this yet. We're going to change the tide of this series. We're going to win this out, and we're going to win this big prize pool.
Yeah, now they definitely have the momentum. We've been talking about it so much this series. They have 4 minutes 30 on the clock. It's actually similar to their Blizzard World attack. They got point A pretty quickly after that rotational battle on the tops of the high grounds, and they walked into point B with just about 4.5. However, Supreme held them on point B that time around, so we'll see if it works out in Supreme's favor yet again as they drop the Amplification Matrix down. They also drop onto the low ground, so positioning changes hands yet again. Checo ready to go with this Deadeye, and he's going to deploy it, currently looking for some picks around the backside, gets 2, and it looks like that will send Shiva Elite surging forward yet again to the next corner of point B.
You know, it's really got to be his nickname. He always gets 2 Deadeye kills. Every time he puts the Deadeye out, it's at least 2 kills. And I don't really know what the nickname would be, but someone much more creative than me think of it and get back to me.
And look at this teleporter move. Shiva Elite are now all the way on the top of the high ground here, and with just a bit of teleport positioning, they put themselves in contention to get on to point C. I think it's a bit of a misplay putting the Photon Barrier that far back for Supreme there, and the team wipe just instantly comes through. Gong of Death sounds, and Shiva Elite moving forward yet again. They have such a huge time bank as they push into point C. Angel Velato now on the Junkrat though.
Yeah, and it's gonna be really interesting to see how this works for them. I don't really like the Junkrat, but we've seen it work out well for, especially for like Checo. And it's really just going to be if he can get that spam damage that's necessary to get rid of those shields and maybe get some picks as well. That'll end up and be in their favor, but it's a big Shatter coming out.
Yeah, both Shatters, I believe, landing 3 down on the floor, but Checo has another ready, Deadeye ready to go, but the cart momentarily blocks it, and Supreme is able to rotate back into the mini health pack room on the side. Now they re-engage with the Amplification Matrix, but Frostbite already low. You see the spam coming through. Bastien moves around the backside, but Angel Velato gets 3 in this fight and immediately makes his presence known. They still have to hold off Shiva for another 3.5 minutes, though.
You know, Bastien really just reminds me of Bumper. I've just figured this out. He's just always going on these wacky plays, looking for those wacky shatters, and it's good to see people are still super aggressive Reinhardt plays, even though he's been not very meta in the recent years.
Ooh, the opening pick from Checo. You see the Riptide around the backside, but Fantasy able to use the turrets and the beam as well to get rid of that Riptide. Phantom Wanted and Checo trading things out here on the backside, but I think this all does favor the defensive side. Seticat gets one, but the tanks stabilize. They drop in the supercharger and win that fight.
Yeah, but right now it's looking really good for the Shiva Elite, even though it's still they've been losing those past 2 fights. They've got Ultimates Online coming up. They've got Psycho Nadge's Beat coming up. They've got Fantasy's Proton Bear that they're going to be using right now, and Fantasy Bastien going to be using the Shatter as well.
Oh, and he pins Frostbite out of the counter Shatter there. Beautiful work, and once this sound barrier expires, then Supreme is going to be vulnerable as they try and contest the objective. Frostbite goes down, so now there's really no way to get back into this one for Supreme. The kills roll through, and Checo wraps around the backside, lands 2 Fan the Hammer kills. 1 minute 53 on the clock. And despite Shiva Elite being stopped up at the end of point C, they cap with nearly 2 in the time bank.
Yeah, 2 minutes still on the clock. That just shows you how much they were rolling throughout the series, that their push. And we're gonna be seeing if Supreme needs to get the same amount of time, or at least get all 3 points to have any contention of winning the series or tying the series up, or keeping the winning the series. Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, Supreme, all the pressure is on them now. Shiva Elite have again flipped the tempo. And I think if they capture in overtime, I think that should be fine. Supreme walking it into point C with 0 seconds on the clock will automatically give them another minute to attack in the overtime rounds. It will put Shiva Elite's time bank pretty far up, but I mean, if they're able to walk it in and just keep this series going, that would be a major feat here. And it looks like Supreme wants to walk out on the Pharah. I'm a bit wary of these attacker decisions. So looking at the defense, it's just sort of the same old thing. Shiva Elite thinks they can make this mirror work again up into the Pharah this time.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting to see if they can get this Pharah to work. Checo has been so good on this McCree. It'll be, like I said, really interesting if they can get this Pharah to work. It's especially with the Orisa as well. It's going to be a lot of damage in the sky that can be focused down to this Pharah.
Oh, an aggressive move from Shiva Elite, but Psycho Nadge left behind by Bastien there as the Reinhardt went around the corner. The Lucio unable to wall ride out of dodge. You see Checo wrapping around the flank yet again. Frostbite sending the Hyperspheres up there. He actually lands the headshot onto Angel Volato, and another one of these crazy flanks isn't going to work out too well for Checo because now the Resurrect comes through. That's the utility of the Mercy coming into this game. But I like Shiva Elite's approach here. They realize that there's no Reinhardt in play from Frostbite, and they always take the initiative to start off these fights. They're actually going to start the next one here, not even waiting for their respawns, and they're going to pay for it as Phantom gets 2 kills. That should be point A on lockdown for Supreme.
Yeah, and they're looking really strong. They're not letting this this match point being in getting to them at the moment, as we're going to see Fantasy going over to the Soldier 76. They're locking the legs, NSB.
It's an interesting decision. I think it's a good one because Soldier does have a bit of mobility as well as being able to beat down the Pharah in the skies. I think Checo could maybe focus on the Mercy, so could Fantasy there. Once that Mercy gets into an open spot in the sky, then they can take care of that player very quickly here. But Parrish does have the Valkyrie. They also have the other support ultimate in Wanted, but that's going to be counteracted by SetiCat's Amplification Matrix, which is used very early here. And this is where the sort of more brawl-heavy composition favors itself, because Shiva Elite, again, take this aggressive stance, and you're going to have to use ultimates if you want to push in. That's exactly what's going to happen for Supreme, but they already lose Angel Volato, had the Barrage in their pocket, but that's going to be it for this fight.
Yeah, Fantasy and Checo getting in on the kill feeds. Fastian gonna go down late, however. Phantom's gonna get him, and that's gonna be big. But thankfully, Psychonage is on this Lucio. They can be able to taxi that Reinhardt deck as quickly as they possibly can. And it's still looking good for the side of Shiva Elite. They've got ultimates online, but 4 to speak of for Supreme, 3 for Shiva Elite at the moment. But it's gonna be Chaco with Mr. 2K again.
Yeah, 2 kills with the Deadeye, definitely very expected at this point. And again, I think the Reinhardt is probably a better pick here. I think that despite having ultimates, Supreme might want to rethink things here.
Yeah, you've got to expect, yeah, we're going to see Parrish swapping over to the Lucio. So obviously they're going to be thinking of swapping Angel Velato off this Pharah after they use this Barrage.
Oh, the Flux coming out early. Fantasy caught in that one, and the health bars dropped just a bit. Fastian was all the way on the low ground, and Angel Velato drops down to get that kill with the Barrage. So no more ultimate ready for the Pharah as Shiva Elite retreat all the way back into point C here. They don't want to lose anyone else.
Yeah, and they're just going to be waiting for Fastian to get back. Wait for that, and then they're going to be able to re-engage with all four ultimates. Here comes the attack visor from Fantasy.
Yeah, all of those ultimates going off at the same time. Oh, Psychonauts getting that final blow there onto Parrish, but it was mostly due to the tactical visor. You see some nice shots coming in from Fantasy as, again, Supreme are forced back. I think now they might want to swap over to the Reinhardt. They might want to swap to maybe a Symmetra to get up in the face of Shiva. It looks like that's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, and it's a nice play from them. They don't have anything to really counter that Symmetra on the side of Shiva Elite thing, since Fantasy is over on that Soldier 76. And it'll be really interesting to see how they can deal with this. There goes the Supercharger out from only Dinks here.
Fastian again dropping in with the Earth Shatter. He finds the Fire Strike kill, so there is a bit of follow-up, despite, I believe, the Shatter not landing too many people on the ground. Fantasy up here just taking pot shots, and Shiva Elite really finding the space to get a good hold here. They're burning down this time bank so much for Supreme.
Yeah, then there's not much time left. Only about 1:30 left in the time bank, and there's not much to go off of if you are Supreme. You've got a Deadeye online for Phantom, but Shiva Elite has that as well, and they're almost up on with that Supercharger again.
Yeah, you see the Deadeye dropped into the mix. It gets one, and Error Terror is no longer in commission for Shiva Elite, but they do have ultimates if they want to try and recontest this. You see Supreme setting up the teleporter to get their players up on the high ground, while Shiva Elite attempts to wrap around the side. They might re-engage here, and they do choose to. They drop the Deadeye early, so Supreme can't get that final progression on the point. Again, it's a bit of a stalemate now that these ultimates are ready. Oh, not the place you want to be if you are McCree. Fantasy takes out Phantom there with the Helix Rocket. Has that tactical visor ready to go as well.
Air Terror going down again, though. Fastian gonna drop the Shatter, gonna get a couple, and gonna get some kills, and it's looking really good for Shiva Elite. This is getting towards last fight territory.
Yeah, they've held point B for so long, it would just seem fitting to get the final progress stopped up here for Shiva Elite. They also have this combo with the Amplification Matrix and the Tactical Visor.
Yeah, and it'll be really interesting to see if they can get any value with this. Is someone gonna be able to touch? Oh my goodness, very close. And that's gonna be a big pick. Washed. I'm wanted. Sorry, gonna get that first pick.
The Tactical Visor now coming out to try and trade things back, and the tanks get two. Shiva Elite pulling themselves back into this fight. Wanted actually gets a 2K of his own, but still the contest is just too much. The brawl power of Shiva Elite is probably going to pick them up the victory right here. Angel Velato uses the Photon Barrier, but Frostbite is the only one left on the point, and that is going to do it. The kill comes through. Shiva Elite maintains their control on Route 66, and they bring home the PS4 T6 prize pool.
Yeah, and they were looking just so much confident. Like I said, they were back to that team that was so calm, so cool, collected, and they were letting Supreme come to them, letting them make mistakes, and that ended up in their favor, winning the series 4-3. And it's nice to see. It's really nice to see them win this series out.
Yeah, in this NA versus EU matchup, it looks like Shiva Elite will come on top. They were the higher seed entering this bracket. However, Supreme, with that semifinals upset, maintained their momentum coming into the finals and was able to put 3 maps on the board. But that is all that they're going to take away. Still, a huge shout out for them. They are the finalists for a reason. They did get this far for a reason, and they put up quite the show trying to get this win, but in the end, Shiva Elites are the victors. Looking back on this series, so many highlight reel plays that you'd love to look at again and again. I'm sure I'm going to be watching back a few of these maps to see those moments, but it was so much fun, Joker.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun here, NSB, and I'm glad I got to be able to cast it with you here. But I think there's not much else to say, but MVP picks. NSB, who are you going to pick?
I mean, there is one player that does stand out from the winning side, and I think you do know who I'm thinking about, and that would probably be Checo.
Yeah.
On the McCree, just absolutely popping off. I think a shout out could really go to any other player of the team. I'm not sure who I would give my shout out to, though. There were so many players that popped off here for Shiva Elite. I think I might give it to Fastian, yeah, on the Reinhardt. Very good play there, very aggressive and sort of innovative with those Earth Shatters, jumping around corners and giving some highlights of his own. But I think Checo would be my top pick for MVP of this finals, and he's going to be comfortable taking home that prize pool for his team.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Checo was going to be my MVP pick as well, but my shout out is going to be to Fantasy. Again, I was talking about that silent carry that we weren't really talking about at the beginning of the matchup. They doing some big work on those projectile heroes and then swapping over to Soldier in the last part of Route 66 and doing some work on that as well. My shout out is going to go to Fantasy, but Checo is going to be our MVP pick.
Yeah, something we can all agree on is that those Deadeyes were massive. 2 kills, 3 kills, 4 kills. He did it all. But he never really got stopped by Supreme in all of these maps. He was always laying down the hurt. And that's why he's going to take home our MVP pick. But before we close out the stream, we'd love to send a shout out to all of our friends out here in the chat. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in, for being so positive with your emojis through the emote-only chat that's been active this time. So thanks for sticking it out through this entire 7-map series. It was so much fun having you guys there. Also, thank you for following the channel. Make sure, if you haven't already, to hit that follow button, because CGL has many more events, but that's actually going to be the last broadcast of the multi-tier tournament number 8 here for CGL. No more finals left to broadcast for us. So all we can do now is thank you for being here all of this entire season and playing yourselves if you were a player in any one of these brackets. Joker, thank you for joining me out on this cast, and Headrammer behind the scenes as always, putting it on the production show. Anything else you'd like to say, Joker? Any plugs you'd like to make before we take it out?
No, I'm all good.
Well, that is going to do it for our finals broadcast of the PS4 Tier 6. Thank you all for tuning in, and thank you for joining us on the long journey of the CGL multi-tier tournament number 8. Make sure you guys join the Discord if you aren't in there already to stay tuned for future events, but we will bid you adieu. I'm NSB. I was here tonight with Joker and with Headrammer on production, and we thank you for tuning in. Make sure to stay safe, and we'll see you later.